We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We're deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
That's not all. We're on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in the restaurant business talking about subjects trending in the industry. Tweet your questions while we're on the air. Our Twitter handle is @SellRestaurants. Post on our Facebook page, facebook.com/WeSellRestaurants. If we don't get to your questions, we will follow up on social media.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas or topics about the show, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to send me an email. My email is very easy. It's Eric, E-R-I-C, @WeSellRestaurants.com.
Today, the restaurant brokers are talking about America's pastime. That's right, grilling. Who's behind that grill? What's on the grill? And what are the secrets to great grilling? We are taking on a topic loved by chefs as well as those at home. You've asked those same questions. Charcoal or gas? Marinate or dry rub? To smoke or not to smoke? We're going to get the answers today. And our first guest is Linkie Marais, beauty queen, award-winning baker, and grill master, all extensions to her title, making Linkie more than your average chef. She has a love for exploring, cooking, and the outdoors, and her will to grill stems all the way back to her unique blend of South African and Southern roots. She immigrated to the U.S. in 1999, settling in Tupelo, Mississippi, where she obtained a degree in Culinary Arts from Mississippi University for Women. She has held various pastry and executive chef positions. You might know her because in 2012, Linkie accepted the opportunity of a lifetime to compete on Food Network's hit series, Next Food Network Star. Her experience on the show was, in her words, crazy. She says it's like driving a fast car, fun but unpredictable. It forced her to push her limits and take creativity to a new level. Linkie, we are so glad to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me. Oh, my goodness. I'm just excited to be on the show and to talk about one of the most favorite things in the world to do, pastime, and that's grilling.
Awesome. And we're also joining us today, Chef DP. And Chef DP, some people may know him as the chef who cooks the most delicious conch fritters and conch salad in Miami from a mobile kitchen under a tent. Others knows him as a bow tie wearing Dapper Don, a regular on the red carpet around town supporting charitable causes. Johnson's customers come from far and wide to enjoy his chunks of sweet tender conch imported from the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, or its fritters made from a batter that had bits of conch, green pepper, onions, and secret seasonings. Daryl Johnson, a.k.a. Chef DP, is also the man behind the global brand Sabroso Sauce. Known in South Florida as the Roadside Chef, Johnson has cultivated a loyal fan base. Chef DP, glad to have you here today.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, so I love this because we've got somebody who has done a stint on national TV, Next Food Network Star, someone who's doing a stint on the red carpet and the side of the road, grilling it up. So tell me, let's just start with Linkie. Tell us, what is the most interesting thing you have ever cooked on a grill? And I want Chef DP to think about the same question.
Well, I have done some interesting things. I did a Mississippi mud cake a while back that was absolutely fabulous. I used a milk stout in the recipe, so it was a little bit more airy, and it was fudgy, and it had a nice smoky flavor. But I think my most unusual thing up until this point is probably donuts. I started grilling donuts, and it's hot and it's trending, and people love it. They love it. You get that grill really nice hot, and you pop the donuts on there, get those char marks on it, and it's almost like popping it in a microwave. You just heat it back up, and you take it off, and you serve it with your favorite sauce or glaze, or I did a peach bourbon sauce that was absolutely delicious. Serve it with some ice cream, and it's easy and it's delicious.
Okay, no one's going to believe that. Donuts on the grill. That is fantastic. All right, Chef DP, weigh in. What do you think is interesting that you've put on that grill?
I would say grilled conch is more of a challenge. It's easy to get tough after you grill it. It doesn't take much of time to grill, and you have to keep it tender. If not, it'll be too tough to bite or eat or chew.
So you require some skills to grill some conch then. You got to have skills.
You got to be quick. You got to be quick.
Okay. There you go. And let's talk about a little bit about, Robin mentioned something in the intro, let's talk about, gas and charcoal and all kind of things like that. And do you have, first of all, is there an answer for all that catches all, or is it, hey, certain types of things you may want to do charcoal, certain types of things you may want to do gas? Linkie, why don't you get us started?
I absolutely love charcoal. People think gas is so easy, but charcoal can be easy too if you, I love to use lump charcoal. Even briquettes are great, but I love the flavor that you get from charcoal. I feel like it has more of a smoky flavor, more of a char flavor than you'd get on the gas grill. So I 100% charcoal.
That is that smell of charcoal is the thing that just takes you back to your youth and really says grilling to me in the summertime.
Exactly. I remember as a kid, I used to love when my dad smelled like that charcoal, when he used to grill out and everything, and he comes back in the house and he smells like that smokiness. I just love it, and you can't get that with a gas grill. Not that I hate gas grills, I just love charcoal. Okay, Chef DP, you're up.
I have to agree with her.
Yay.
The charcoal, it gives off a special, a different type of aroma. And it does something different, add flavor to the food, the aroma, compared to just a gas. Gas is just, I'm used to cooking with gas, and that's what I mainly cook with, but charcoal is better.
Charcoal. We got 2 for 1.
2 charcoals. Now, do you guys use a little wood chip like flavors and stuff, or just really the natural charcoal without any enhancers?
For me, it depends on what you are grilling.
Okay.
And what flavor.
So you may use some of it at some point to have a little bit.
You can switch it up. It depends on what flavor you're looking for and what type of meat you are grilling.
All right. How about you, Linkie?
I agree 100%. I feel like it depends on what you do. I've used pecan wood chips before when I'm baking, or if I'm doing fish, I'd rather do a cedar. It really just depends on what you're doing. If you're doing some pork, some hickory chips are amazing and gives a great aroma and flavor. So I'm with you, Chef. It truly depends on what recipe you're grilling up.
So, Chef, I have a question for you because you have a very unusual situation. You're doing this roadside grilling. You have this fantastic following in South Florida. I mean, you're like have folks that treat you as a celebrity type chef.
Right.
You're always outdoors. What does that mean? How in the world do you set that up and keep your wits about you?
Well, yeah, I'm considered a roadside celebrity chef. And at first I took it kind of personal, but I like it. It's different. I never heard of it before. I think they need a show on Food Network.
There you go.
I agree, man. You're the new different kind of roadside assistants.
Right. That's a great way. Right. I have a commercial tent. It has branding with the Chef DP logo. It also has the website. Located on the county property. You go through the license and so forth like that. That's needed to operate. I have a custom-made cart, stainless steel, with hot water, cold water, wastewater, fresh water, sink, of course, correct and appropriate fire extinguisher. There's other things that you have to operate, but it's something different. And I came up with that idea while attending college, culinary, and I actually had 2 restaurants. I could not attend college full time and run a restaurant. It was a challenge. I mean, you're talking like 21 hours a day. I leave in the middle of the day, go to class, come back. It was, and then I had to oversee about, I think I had five employees. So it was a lot on me. So one of my chef professors came up with that, it's like, why don't you get a food truck or something? I'm like, nah, I don't want that. So I came up with this idea, and I had a custom stainless steel food cart design.
Oh, that's great. And there's just so much innovation in the industry. That's some of the things that we're such fans of. And Linkie, let me ask you, you see the trends out there in grilling. What are you anticipating coming up on the grilling scene? It's donuts.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm just thinking donuts was such a bizarre thing to grill. I mean, it's like everybody's in tune with this trend for grilling, and just doesn't look like there's going to be any ceasing to it, right?
Exactly, and you'll see more and more families taking risks. I think one of the hot trends coming up for this summer is people are moving away from spare ribs, and they're going into beef short ribs. More and more restaurants are getting wood grills. You see a lot more smoky flavors out there. People are willing to take risk, even with cocktail, doing smoky cocktails. I mean, one of the main things I think is people are grilling pizzas. I mean, it's been done. It's been happening for the past year, but people are really coming up with these crazy pizzas ideas, and even restaurants. And another thing that is very interesting are people are using their smartphones to start keeping tabs on the temperatures. So you get these double prong thermometers into the meat, and then they can check on their cell phone when everything is done, when it's up to temperature. And so it's very interesting to see how people are just really getting on this grill bandwagon and taking risks and doing fun things. Something else that's going to be really hot this summer is sausage. I think there's a lot of restaurants that who are starting to make their own sausage, and they want really nice smoky flavor. So once again, they smoke, and they do these great recipes on wood grills. So I think those are the main things: of the pizzas, the sausages, the smoky cocktails, and the smartphones. Using your smartphones to keep tabs on temperature. And then one other thing that I think is going to be very trendy is doing lemons and limes on the grill, and then using that to do margaritas or lemonade or spiked lemonade. And I think it just gives a really nice charry cocktail. So I think those are the trends.
That's very interesting. Chef DP, you see anything out there you want to add to this?
I travel around Florida cooking at different festivals, and I do see more food trucks with larger grills compared to, I remember I used to always see them with maybe like 3 to 5 minimum deep fryers. Now you may see maybe 2, or most cases at least 1 deep fryer. You see larger grills now, and as she mentioned, I do see more grill fresh limes and lemons. If they're not, how can I say that? I haven't seen it added in the drink, but I have seen where they use it more of it as a garnish.
Okay. With
different types of food. So I see the grilled sausages, the pizza. I see that a lot traveling around Florida. I see some of everything. It's some of everything, but individuals. And I see different food trucks, because South Florida is big on the food truck scene. It's some of everything. I mean, I see more tacos being grilled. How they wrap it, grill it. I see so much on a daily basis.
So creativity that chefs are that's spilling way out of the kitchen and onto the grills.
Yeah, it's very, they're very creative, and also it's like now I notice that pretty much like as long as it has a good flavor, it's not burnt, and it has a good flavor taste, like almost anything goes. Like you can just create basically any type of sandwich. People willing to taste it and try.
That's exciting. Now, as far as, you mentioned the grill, the bigger the better, and I totally agree. I personally own an 8-foot grill, and I wish I would have a 10-foot grill. So I agree with this. But what about Linkie accessories? I mean, we see a huge increase in accessorizing and all sorts of tools. You just mentioned, the smartphone thermometers. What other utensils or cooking or things that are needed now to accessorize the grill to make a good performance?
Oh my goodness, there are so many different kinds out there. I think my favorite accessories is pit mitts. I love using pit mitts because you can literally grab a hot thing off the grill, something like a pizza stone that's 600 degrees, and you put your pit mitts on and you're not burning your hands, and you can literally run it to the side of the grill and put it down on the ground. So I love my pit mitts. I even use them in the kitchen. And then fire wires. I love fire wires. It's like this long wire that is a skewer, and you can do these really long, almost like a edible necklace kebab. And I love them because you don't have to worry about pre-soaking wood skewers, or them burning. So I love my fire wires, love my pit mitts. And anything, like I said, people are starting to bake pizzas and things, so anything that transforms your grill into a convection oven, plate setters, convector plates, anything like that is really hot. Some woks. I see a lot of people using woks because one of the fun things that they do now is they do fajitas and like Chef said, tacos and things like that. So they're starting to grill veggies and things in the grill woks. But there's so many great things out there. You just have to go to your local place and your kitchen store and just see how you can accessorize. And I love doing that because Father's Days and Valentine's Days, it's just easy gift giving.
Absolutely. And you are a special girl, Linkie, because when you ask most women about accessories, they automatically go to jewelry or watches. No, you're about fire wires and pit mitts.
That's right.
Chef DP, do you have any secret accessories that you'd like to share with the audience?
Cooking outdoors is a challenge. So for me, just to have, I have to do a lot of improvising.
Okay.
Cooking, it could be raining, but my tent is commercial, so it don't rain directly up under the tent, but a little rain and heat. So for me, just be able to know that there is the equipment is more compact now compared to maybe 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I think just to have, you can have like a freezer stove, a freezer, 3-department sink in such a little small compact, and it's real portable. You have wheels, you could just push it right on out compared to it was used to be very large. So for me, I like the compact.
That's a good point for people that have a restaurant and want to maybe take it outside the restaurant and have more portability on cooling equipment.
It gives you more space too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good advice for that.
So, Linkie, I want to ask you, because you obviously have this South African heritage, and you really were forced to think on your feet and do some unusual things on Next Food Network Star. You really have some unusual and unique types of recipes. How do you come up with these? Where do you get your inspiration?
Well, that it's such a tough question, but it boils down to being inspired through different people, my mom had us back in South Africa, had us at a young age peeling potatoes in the kitchen. And my grandmother was always cooking. So what I do is I try to take family recipes and then put my own spin on it. I do that. I look on Pinterest is one of my favorite things in the world, because you can literally look at something and say, oh, that looks fabulous. Don't look at the recipe, look at the food and say, well, how can I put my twist on it? So that's what I do is I grab old family recipes. Sometimes I take recipes that I've been doing for years, and I'm like, how can I make this new? How can I make it inventive? Oh, let's add some lemon zest, or let's add some grated oregano, or some cumin, some coriander, and turn it into a complete different dish. And I think the key in coming up with new recipes is to have fun and play. It's so much fun to cook, and it's fun to mess up sometimes and say, well, that didn't work. I mean, I've had friends come up with crazy recipes like banana stuffed chicken, and you're like, are you crazy? It did not work, but you took the risk. So I think in coming up with different recipes, you have to take the risk. You have to think, well, how can I make this, mine? How do I make it turn it into all these different flavors, South African flavors? Then I detoured in the South. Now I'm in Massachusetts. So you take all of those things, and you're like, okay, how can I make it Linkie's? And that's usually what I do.
Great.
That is really good advice, and that's very interesting. You have to take, your places you've been and everything like that, and try to combine them in interesting. Chef DP, what about that? What kind of meats and stuff? What's your influence in the grilling?
I watch my mother and grandmother cook. I have a recipe book from my grandmother that she deceased now, but she wrote the recipes back in 1970s.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
However, I don't go to my family and friends to taste my food. I go to people who don't know me.
Yeah.
Because they more likely, I don't tell them it's me. I just say, try this out. Oh, that's nasty. So you get the honest, and you go, you have different people, and some say, Then I have those who will be like, have you tried this ingredient or that? So it's something like, just basically, I agree with what she said. Just have fun. I always have fun in the kitchen. Just have fun. Just think outside the box.
So I guess food cooking is science made fun, I guess.
Yeah, because it's a formula. I think once you know your formula, you can pretty much cook and come up with different ingredients. So, recipes, I would say.
Yeah, and something, Chef, I'm not sure if you do the same thing. Sometimes I love to go to a farmer's market or something and find an ingredient that I'm not familiar with, and then say, how can I turn this into a recipe? Challenge yourself, like you said, think out of the box and say, I'm not familiar with this fruit or with this veggie. Let's play with it and see what we can come up with. I love that.
Yes, I do. And in South Florida, there's probably about 10 blocks. They call it a curve market, or you could go from next door to next door, and it's like you can pick whatever, fresh, whatever, some of everything. So it's very healthy, and it gives you an idea because, you always learning. So you can walk in an establishment and see something that you probably haven't seen before. Maybe you heard of it, maybe you haven't. And you can, do your research, your due diligence, and you can find out, what's one of the ways or the best ways to use it, and you can incorporate it with your recipe.
And speaking of healthy, Linkie, grilling is, for us, it's our go-to because it does seem to, you can impart a lot of flavor, add some spices and seasoning, and you don't have, you're not dealing with a lot of butter, and you're definitely not frying it or anything. Do you agree that grilling is one of the most healthy ways you can prepare your meats?
I agree, but I disagree because my middle name is Butter.
Okay.
Or it should be. No, I agree. I definitely agree. I think it's something that you can definitely, use olive oil instead of using butter. And it's not a lot of frying. It's not a lot of fat that goes into it. It's straight just fire. So it definitely is healthy, but I will say I have so many different recipes. I have a spiced tequila oyster that I do a compound butter with chipotles and butter and garlic, and then I put the butter on top of the oyster, I grill it, and then the moment I take it off the grill, I heat it with tequila and cilantro, and it's fabulous, and it's just buttery, and it's not healthy, but I love it. It's a great way to start your day.
You had me at butter. That was the thing. I tell you what.
Wow, that sounds
and
delicious.
We're going to get more secrets from these guys. Just stay with us because we are on the air with Linkie Marais and Chef DP, who are talking to us about grilling. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, the restaurant brokers. Join us this and every week as we satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more stories about how you can improve your grilling technique and learn from this week's experts.